This call is now being recorded. So, good morning, Luke. It's been a while since we have seen each other. So, welcome back again to our synchronous session. So, let's learn and enjoy with me, your teacher, Miss Ma'am Toquero. So, before we formally start, let's us have our prayer first. So, who wants to lead the prayer? Anyone? Okay, thank you. Okay, before we start, let me check your attendance first by checking who already joined our meeting. Okay, it seems that we don't have any absentees for today. Okay, very good. So, last meeting I have given you an assignment. Your asynchronous task is to do a comparison of contrast of yourself and Makato. So, because our last lesson is about the story Makato and the cowrie shell, right? Okay. So, I have given you that asynchronous task for you to present it today in our synchronous session. So, who wants to present their work? Yes, Miss Cindy. Okay, very good. So the differences that Miss Cindy have presented to us is this. Makato was an orphan. He has no mother, a father, or even a brother and sister. While Cindy, she has a complete family that supports her studies and provides for her needs. While on the other hand, Makato uh, needs to work at a very young age to support himself and survive in his everyday needs. And Makato is uneducated because he does not have the opportunity to send himself to school because he is not financially stable. Unlike Miss Cindy, she said that uh, her family is there to support her studies and they are the one who is providing for her needs. Uh, while there are similarities, Cindy, just like Makato, she also have a dream and ambition, and it is to achieve uh, this is to achieve or finish her studies and travel a lot and have a peaceful life, the same as Makato. So Makato is also have a dream, and Makato's dream is to go to his dream place, which is the castle or the kingdom of Sukhothai. So Cindy have used this kind of presentation to illustrate her content. So the differences she put it in here uh, and in here. So there the similarities she put it in the middle. So that's what do you think did Cindy have used to illustrate or present her contents? Okay, this is she drew a two big circles with an overlapping portion in the middle. So the two big circles is for the different two differences, and the middle part is for the similarities. Okay, very good. So what do you think is the term for that illustration? Okay, it is called a Venn diagram. So this is what a Venn diagram looks like. Okay. So what she have drew or what she have used to present her work is related to our topic, which is the uh, explaining visual verbal relationship. So what is visual verbal relationship? But before that, visual verbal relationship is also known as, or we can also call it as visual verbal illustration. So manner to catch the reader's interest. So I have here a few examples or pictures of visual verbal illustrations. So all you have to do is to tell me what kind of visual illustration is that and define it in your own words. So as last week, I have given you the module for this session. So I hope that every one of you have already read it so that you can have the idea what I am going to discuss today. So, what do you think is the term for these two illustrations in our PowerPoint, in our slide? Yes, it is a graph. And what is a graph? So, graph is a diagram that shows the relationship of information presented. So, we have the two kinds of graph, which is the line graph and the bar graph. So, line graph defined as it presents information trend using data dots connected by straight line segments. So, this is what so this is what a line graph looks like. So this is the data dots and this is the straight line. That is why it is called line graph. So it represents trend data. So in this particular graph, it represents the how the COVID-19 cases in the Philippines from the month of June, from the month of March to June 2020. So we can see in here that it has a lower average. So we only have 2,084 cases up to 37,514 COVID-19 cases in total. That's only within 4 months. So we can see here that the data in which how the COVID-19 cases in the Philippines have uh, grown in just 4 months. So next one is the no, is the bar graph. So, according to definition, it characterizes categorical data with rectangular bars of equal width. So, this is an example of a line graph. So, rectangular bars. So, this is what uh, this is what we call rectangular bars. It represents the succession in which how the COVID-19 cases, also how the COVID-19 cases in the Philippines from March to June have increased from okay. So we have used line graph to present trends or issues, while the other one is the categorical data using rectangular bars. So next one we have this one. So, what do you think is the term for this illustration? Okay, very good. It's a table. So, we have here the name of grade and section, which is Gomamela, Rose, and etc. So, while in the other side, we have here the male, female, and the total of the male and female. It is called the enrollment data. So, what is a table? So, table is an organized arrangement of data, usually in rows and columns. So, rows, this is the rows, and this is the columns. So, it usually represents also data about how many male and females have enrolled in the section Lumamela, rows, and etc. So this is what a table looks like. Next one, we have this illustration. So what do you think is the term for this one? Okay, very good. It is a infograph. So what do you think is the purpose of an infograph? Okay, so for us to know what is an infographic or infograph, so infographic is a combination of visual images and text presentation of specific information. So in this particular illustration, we can usually see this in the news, or I know you know who Mang Tani is, right? So It is about weather. So it is usually presented in a weather forecast. So we have here the clock and the cloudy illustration. So it represents uh, um, what do you call it? A warning to the people. It is represented by red, orange, and yellow. Next one, we have this map. What do you call to this map? Okay, it is a Philippine map. So what is map? So map is a diagram or visual representation that shows the relative position of the parts of something. It could be a drawing or a photograph. So in this particular picture, we can see where Luzon is located, where Visayas is located, and where Mindanao is located. So these three are the three major parts of the Philippines. So this is what a map looks like. So next one is, what do you call this one? Okay, it is a concept map. So in here, so a concept map displays the organization of and relationship of concepts and ideas. So this is the main topic, which is the eight cities symbolizing the eight rays of the sun in the Philippine map. So we have Laguna, Nueva Ecija, Cavite, Pampanga, Bulacan, Batangas, Manila, and Tarlac. So they are equally related to each other because they are the cities that we can found here in our country, which is the Philippines, or the eight cities that symbolizes the eight rays that we can found in our Philippine map. Okay, next one is, what do you think is the term for this two? It is a chart. So in chart is an illustration that presents information in a tabular or circular form. So chart has two different kinds, which is the pie chart and the flow chart. So in this two illustrations, this is the pie graph, and this one is the I know this is the pie chart, and this one is the flow chart. So what is a pie chart? So a pie chart is a circular in form that presents how a whole is sliced into parts, while flow chart is an illustration that shows a step-by-step process. So we can see that, so according to the definition, a pie chart is in circular form. So it is in circular form, and it shows how a whole piece is sliced into pieces. So this particular chart or pie chart is uh, represents how COVID-19 cases in the Philippines from March to June 2020 have increased. So while in this uh, illustration, it shows a flow of the process of enrollment. So, first, get the learner enrollment in survey form, fill out the LESF, submit it to the school guard or barangay. So it shows how a particular or how a particular event or things must be done step by step, so that we are being guided what we are going to do next after finishing the first step. So next, okay, since we are already done in all the uh, topics or all the important things that we have to discuss, let us check now your understand. If you have already understood what I have been discussing since the start of our synchronous session today. So all you have to do is just say if it is true or if it is false, if the statement is true or if the statement is false rather. So I will be calling some of you who wants to volunteer, of course. So first one, chart is an illustration that presents information in a tabular or circular form. True or false? Okay, it's true. Second, map is a tabular in form that shows the relative position of the parts of something. Yes, it's true. Flowchart is an illustration that shows step-by-step process. Yes, it's also true. Table is a circular arrangement of data, usually in rows and columns. Is it true or false? Yes, it's false. Table is not circular in form. Table might be in a rectangular or in a square form because it is represented by rows and columns. And fifth one, line graph. Line graph is a kind of graph that presents information trend using data dots connected by straight line segments. So the word is there, line graph, connected by straight line segments. So it is through. Okay, next. Bar graph is a kind of graph that characterizes categorical data with rectangular of equal width. Okay, from the word rectangular bars, we can easily conclude that it is a bar graph from the word itself, bars. Okay. Next one, pie chart is a circular in form that presents how a whole is sliced into parts. So, class, you can already have a clue uh, upon reading the statements. So, pie. So, if you are to imagine what a pie looks like, it's circle. Okay. So, your basis is there. So, pie chart is circular in form. So, the statement is true. Okay, very good. So next, concept map displays the organization and relationship of concepts and ideas. True or false? Yes, it's true. So next one, graph is a diagram that shows the relationship of information presented. Of course, it is also true. For the last one, for the last item, we have infographic. It is a combination of visual images and text presentation, specific information. So, is it true or false? Yes, it is also true because infographics have images and text for you to understand what the message want to convey easily. So next, for your asynchronous activity, want you to answer this uh, on your module. You have to find page number 16. The title of the activity is Assessment 2B Connect Me Directions. So the directions there are below are pieces of information from the selection early warnings. You just have to arrange them based on how they are presented in the text by filling out these organizer. So in your module, you can see this particular organizer. So there is already the text. You just have to fill it in to these boxes to see uh, the flow of the information. So in our next synchronous session, I will be asking you what kind of visual verbal illustrations uh, is this one that you have answered. So I think that's all uh, things that we have to be discussed for today. I hope you have learned what is visual verbal relationships and what are the examples of visual verbal illustrations. And I do hope that you can use it in your future for a future purpose. So for your assignment, I want you to take note on this. Oh, by the way, before we proceed to the assignment, do you have any questions? Okay, none so far. So for your assignment, I want you to screenshot this particular slide for you to attach it and put your name here before the actual assignment. So I want you to answer assessment pages 22 to 27 on your module. Okay, do you have any questions? None so far. Okay, very good. I hope, I believe that you have really understood what I have discussed today. So, see you when we see each other again. Goodbye, and thank you, and goodbye, class.